Hello, Luis. How are you? Happy to have you here. Can you tell me if my sound is good, please? Thank you. Hey, hello, Rebecca. How are you? Hello, sis. True. How are you? Glad you're here, guys. Sound is good? Okay, cool. I have an improvised setup today, so I hope you can hear me well. So this is gonna be a quick, very quick live, and actually, I need your help because as usual I have questions here. I don't have the answers, of course, but I want to see what is your opinion about this, right? So first of all, I just want to say hello to you guys. Luis Cuevas is here. How are you, Luis? Rebecca Ann is in the house. She's true. Thank you for that. Digital. Hello, Digital. What's up? So I hope you're not going to take this discussion bad. I know that everything related to the crime scene is very sensitive, so I'm gonna try to keep it respectful, but at the same time, I have questions. There are some elements of the crime scene that I don't see that they are discussed uh, online, let's say, or in this community. Maybe they were discussed. Maybe I'm not aware of that. But I just want to know your opinion about. Today, I'm gonna just talk about two elements here. One of the elements is related to Libby's face. Is not a secret that most of us we already saw the crime scene pictures. Those pictures were all over the place in the internet. So most probably you already saw the crime scene pictures, right? If you did it, you can agree with me that Libby's face is, how can I say, there is some trauma there. She was hit with something, with she was punched, or she was hit with a branch, or she was hit with a stick, with a rock. I don't know, but obviously there's something that is not normal on her face. There's a trauma there. Why am I talking about this? Because when we talk about the nature of the crime scene, we used to talk only about the cuts that were inflicted on the throats of the girls. But in the case of Libby, in my opinion, I'm not an expert in crime scene investigations or forensics, or just asking questions, and you can help me with these guys. But when we see Libby's face, Libby's nose, something is not normal. She was hit with some object for sure. This is just my opinion. And I think that this is important because the devil is in the details, you know. This is an important element of the investigation, or just to be able to figure out what happened there. We need to know. I don't know if the autopsy report was already issued. Are we allowed to read the autopsy report? Is already published, let's say, or not? I don't know. I haven't seen it. All of the information that we can find in internet or whatever is that the girls were they had some cuts on the throats. We know that in the case of Abby, she had a puncture on the chest. But I'm very interested in the uh, in regards of Libby's injuries in her face. Why? Because the narrative can be different here. You know what I mean? Uh, let's say, and this is going to be against my own theories here in this case. One of the things that I really don't understand is the lack of defensive injuries. You know, if you're going to be stabbed, let's say, or if someone is going to cut your throat, your natural reflex is to defend yourself. You know what I mean? So you expect to have defensive injuries. But, and again, I'm going to go against my own theories here. If the perpetrator or perpetrators, in the case of Libby, let's say, the first attack was, I don't know, a punch on her face, or if she was hit with a branch, with a stick, with a rock, with a stone on her face, she's gonna be unconscious right away, right away. So if the cuts were inflicted after that attack, let's say on the face, uh, that could be an explanation for the lack of defensive injuries. I don't know. I'm just thinking at the same time I'm talking to you guys. So let me know what do you think. I'm gonna come back to the chat later, but this is the first thing. Please refresh my memories because I don't remember people discussing this in internet. I know this is a very sensitive subject topic, but if we want to know what happened there, this is an important element because every time we talk about the girls being cut with serrated or non-serrated blade with a knife, we try to figure out what was the murder weapon. But what if the murder weapon was not a knife or a blade, but a stone, a rock, or not necessarily the murder weapon, but an object that could made Libby being unconscious. You know what I mean? So did the investigators find that object, that stone, that rock, that branch? Remember that they didn't collect the sticks at the time of the events because the sticks were not elements of evidentiary value. So this is something that is just spinning in my mind. I don't understand yet. Was that trauma caused before the cut on the throats, before the murders, or the murder of this girl of Libby, or after her murder? I don't know. I again, I'm not an expert. We also know that at one point Libby was moved. She was dragged. So when I see the injuries, I don't think that the cause of the injuries is related to Libby being dragged uh, at one point. Is not consistent with friction between her face and the terrain, between her face and the ground. This is just my opinion. I think it's mostly like again like a hit, a direct hit on her face, and not related to Libby being dragged. That's just my opinion. So this is first element that I wanted to discuss today. Again, I don't have any answer. I'm just uh, trying to discuss this element with you guys, and I'm gonna go to the chat soon to see what are your opinions about this. The other thing that I find really weird when I see the crime scene pictures is that if you see Libby's hair, her hair looks really wet. It's like she was just in contact with water. So she was, in my opinion, she was in contact with water, uh, not so uh, far before the pictures of the crime scene were taken. This is just my opinion. If you look at her hair, it looks really wet. But when you see the picture of Abby, it's the opposite. It's really dry. So there's a big difference there between the condition of Libby's hair and the condition of Abby's uh, Abby's hair. One of them is clearly, in my opinion, is clearly wet. It's just my opinion. Is that I can't see that easily. Maybe I'm wrong. Again, I'm gonna come back to the chat to see what do you think about that. And on the opposite side, um Abby's hair is really dry. So I don't know what to conclude about that. They were not at the same location when they were murdered. This is just my opinion. Because if they were murdered right after crossing the creek, let's say, the hair of Libby and the hair of Abby, both of them should be wet. But again, it's my opinion, it's my perception. I can see Libby's hair wet, but not Abby's. So I don't know. And I had a third element for good, as usual. It's gonna come back. Anyways, so I'm just gonna see what are your thoughts about this so far. Luis, sounds good. Thank you for that. I'm glad you are okay, Luis. Sunflower. Good evening, Cryptex mods in chat. Happy to have you here, Sunflower. Cool. It's true. I agree with you about the damage to Libby's nose. I brought it up in a chat to Christine, the private investigator, and she said there was no damage. Come on. Damage is there, but it's clear as crystal. Or I'm blind. Maybe you and myself, we are blind. But of course, there's trauma. It's clear. It's clear. How can she say that there is no damage? I don't understand. Luis, from what I was told, there was no trauma, and that came from someone who claimed to see the autopsy photos. Okay, I don't understand how the autopsy photos can be different to the crime scene pictures. I don't understand that. To me, the trauma is evident. You can correct me, guys. Maybe I'm wrong. Again, I'm not an expert in trauma condition or injuries or whatever, but I can see a clear trauma on Libby's face for sure. Broken nose for sure, in my opinion. 100%. I agree with you. 100%. It was broken. And it's not only the nose. When you see like her cheek here, something happened. It's not normal. Jer, hi creepy, how are you? Hi strong, hello. Interestingly, Ron Logan hit a girlfriend of his before a ranch, she claimed. I know this is hearsay, but it's online and she seemed believable. Yeah, I don't know if there's a connection between that and what we are talking about, but yeah, interesting information. They did a half-assed job investigating this crime now. Of course, the investigation was just a disaster. Digital. The narrative changed from Libby fought like hell to no defensive wounds. Hard to know the lies from the truth. Yeah, I don't think she fought like hell at all. Uh, and I don't know what happened if the injuries on her face are were committed before the crime or after the crime. Again, I would tend to say that the first attack was that she was hit on her face. Uh, because of that, she was kind of incapacitated, let's say, and maybe not fully unconscious. I don't know, but she was maybe like groggy, and then the perpetrators they could cut her throat. I don't know. I'm just speculating here, and maybe that's the explanation of the lack of defensive injuries. I don't know. Again, full speculation from my side. Let's come back here. Louis, the blood spatter expert didn't mention any trauma against the face, and that's yeah, exactly. And this is very weird. That's my point. It's freaking weird because the trauma is evident. In my opinion, is evident, and that was not mentioned during the process. I don't know. I don't understand for real. That's why I'm questioning that. Digital. They were too busy trying to stage a scene to collect any evidence. Sarcastic comment from Digital as usual. Rebecca, things don't add up. Yeah, I agree. 100%. Luis Cuevas, very sensitive topic. Thank you for being so respectful, Cryptex. I'm sure I'm gonna have some push back here, but those are questions that we have to ask. I have to ask. I don't understand. For real, I don't understand. So I know, and you know that I'm not a fan of this guy. What's his name? Frank, the German guy. Uh, I forgot his channel, anyways. But he was talking about that. He was the one who showed the crime scene pictures on his channel. There were some filters, so he didn't show the whole or the normal crime scene pictures. That there was a filter there, and he was very criticized because of that, and I understand why. In that video, he was talking about that, about the injury or the potential injury that Libby suffered on her nose, and yeah, I have my differences with this guy, but in that regard, he was right for sure. She's true. Could she have fell in creek, hit her nose, and wet her hair? Okay, that's a good hypothesis. Yeah, but it's a little bit far fetched. What about Abby. She didn't fall. She didn't have her hair wet. Uh, I don't know. It's interesting as a hypothesis, sister. I get your point. Chandler, please don't forget the circle of blood below them. She's true. My problem with Libby falling in the creek is the watermark on her jeans. If she was wearing her own jeans, they would have been completely wet instead of a water line. Mm, interesting. Digital. How cold was the cooling truck used to transport them to autopsy? Is that normal? That has major impact on ability to determine time of death. Yeah, that's the thing. We don't even know what was the time of death, and this is one of the main factors to get to some conclusions in a crime. You have to know what was the crime, the time of death, and I agree with you. Uh, this is not clear, 100%. Chuckleberry Finn, the narrative being the gospel of Liv Erskine text. Okay. I thought Mike said she fought. I think that came from the Erskine's text digital, if I remember well. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's my recollection. She's true. The superficial wounds are mainly left for autopsy report, I have found. I don't want to get graphic, but I think there is more injury to the tip of Libby's nose. Again, it's really weird. Something happened. Something happened. It's not just the throat, it's the face. And did the law enforcement find the element or the item that was used to hit Libby's face? If it wasn't, of course, the fist of the perpetrator, I don't know. But this is an important evidentiary item for the investigation for sure. Yeah, Hawk Finn, I would take the Erskine texts as more gospel than the ME just because they were a knee jerk reaction. What is ME? I don't know what is ME. There is a lot in the autopsy we may never know because it wasn't asked about in court and autopsy reports are commonly sealed. For example, stomach contents didn't come out in trial. Yeah, very, this is an excellent point because depending on the stomach contents, you're going to be able to determine the time of death as well, for sure. Good point. Yeah, how so they were not mentioned? Maybe they didn't did the analysis of the stomach contents. I wouldn't be surprised. Oh my god. Yeah, I haven't seen the crime scene pics, so I will have to take your word for it. And no, you don't have to. Maybe what I see is not the same thing that other people see. You know what I mean? I can see a clear trauma on Libby's face. That's clear for me, but maybe for other person, it's not gonna be that clear. You know what I mean? And again, I can see easily that Libby's hair is wet and Abby's hair is dry, but you don't have to take it as gospel, let's say. Uh, that's why I'm discussing these elements with you guys. So I don't think I'm gonna stay too long here tonight, guys. That was the that were the points I wanted to discuss with you, at least to to trigger the discussion. Maybe we can do like a part two about this. Again, I don't think the injuries on Libby's face were related to Libby being dragged uh, on that ground, let's say. So I don't know. I'm still thinking about it, and we're gonna we're gonna come back with part two, let's say. And just keep that subject in mind. Help me trying to understand this. Try to think about it, and let's talk. Medical examiner. Okay, thank you so much, Rebecca, for that. So this is all for tonight, guys. Thank you so much for being here, and we're gonna continue digging in that subject. So stay in touch. Hit the like for sure. Hit the like. This is very important. And subscribe if you are not yet subscribed. See you this week, guys. Bye bye. It was a pleasure to be with you.